MCRD is extremely important to the overall Marine Corps mission. We have so many Marines that we have to make each year, so about half of the Marines that we make every year come through MCRD San Diego. This cycle is different just because we, for the very first time, have integrated an entire company. So we have male and female recruits training alongside one another. So when the recruits arrive here at MCRD San Diego, before they can even join a training company, they're required to do a mandatory 2-week quarantine before they can pick up with a training company. And they're also required to take COVID tests to make sure that they are COVID-free so that they can begin training.
So in the morning we get up, they knock on the hatches and get up at 5 in the morning. That's our time if you want to shower. And then it's lessons laid out for the day. They have videos up on YouTube and workout times 2 times a day. They come by our rooms every day to quiz us. And so we have to know all of our knowledge, general orders, Marine Corps history, and everything like that.
What I take care of is I receive recruits. We process them throughout the day, take them to medical, dental, all the essentials that they'll need before pickup day on Friday. Once they get into the buses coming from quarantine due to COVID, they'll have a drill instructor escort them out so they can get off my bus. That's where they'll step on the yellow footprints. Now, once they get on the yellow footprints, that's when they get the creed as far as what they can and cannot do, their rights, and the UCMJ and all that. And then once they go through those hatches to the contrary room, make sure like they get their second check, because they get checked again when they come from the airport and they go to quarantine for 2 weeks. Now, once they get screened and make their phone call home, they go to supply and get all the essentials that they're gonna need while here in receiving. Then they'll go dropped off to their designated platoon, and they'll go to their drill instructor, which would be like myself. Then they'll go to the moment of truth. Anything that like they didn't disclose, something like that. Once they've been screened from that, they'll get dropped off back to myself or one of the other drill instructors. And mind you, all this takes some minutes. That's usually within an hour once I've received them.
So the IST is the initial strength test, which is the first physical fitness test that the recruits take when they show up here at MCRD San Diego. Once they're done with their quarantine and they're about to begin training, ultimately they have to pass the IST before they can begin training with a crew training company. It's important for the recruits to be able to pass the IST before they can begin training to make sure that they are physically capable to meet the rigors and the demands of recruit training, the physical abilities that they'll have to make sure that they can maintain before they can actually start training. Upon completion of the IST, the recruits will come to the squad base, and that is where I will introduce them to their drill instructors. And ultimately, that's when the drill instructors will take over and start training the recruits.
If you want to do it, do it. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh, just because you're a female, like you're not as strong as the males, you can't compete with the males, but they're wrong. That I'm so glad I have this opportunity to pave the way for other women to come to San Diego and do what they want to do.
I think every generation of Marine wonders whether or not the next generation of Marine can be entrusted with the security of our nation and the legacy of our Corps. New breed, old breed, it doesn't matter as long as it's the Marine breed. Pride and discipline is etched in the 3rd Battalion logo, and we will continue to develop Marines that have that bedrock of discipline. The training has not changed. Integrated Training Company is doing the same thing, hiking the same hills, conquering the Reaper here in a couple of weeks. They're doing all of those same things that a regular training company would do. We are demanding more of them in terms of leadership and the ability to decide how to communicate with a bias for intelligent action. Lethality should be directly correlated not necessarily with physicality, but speed of decision. I would certainly say that there's an excitement in the air. Marines have been known for a long history almost 250 years of tackling challenges and overcoming obstacles, and this is no different.
Marines as a whole, we have a warrior mindset, and McMAP is used to embody that. Just because you're not on the front line doesn't mean that you don't get to participate in that warrior spirit. Won't mind any weapon. Just because we're out of rounds, the fight's not over yet. We have to teach them the basics before they can start to actually engage in hand-to-hand combat. There's a difference between us and the enemy, and it's our professionalism as a warfighter. We can go to war and we do it in a professional manner. So whether that's taking it to the enemy or winning hearts and minds, we still have to embody what that means. The physical aspect is easy. Do pull-ups to get better. Crunches, you can do crunches to get better. But it takes a little bit more time to get mentally strong and to get past mental fatigue. So telling your body that you can go, even when your body's telling you that you can't go, that's something that has to be trained, and that doesn't just happen overnight. It has to be constantly trained in order for your mind to catch up with your body.
Our initial job here is to essentially qualify all the recruits as a basic swimmer. And then from there, the ones that cannot swim or haven't grown up around pools, is the main part is the instruction, is teach them how to swim and give them the survival skills. So when they go out to the fleet, they know how to swim and survive on their own where they put in that situation. Every McQuist here is essentially, they are a lifeguard, and we know how to recognize if they are showing signs of drowning or if they're uncomfortable in the water before they even get in the water. Those are things we can identify at the same time to teach them and also make them feel as safe as possible. It's probably the safest pool to ever be in because of the amount of lifeguards that we actually have here and the drills that we run weekly and monthly.
In first phase, it's very physically demanding. There's a lot of runs, a lot of body weight exercises, just a lot of introduction and then reiteration. They'll do one circuit course and then a couple days later, they'll execute it again, knowing what they've already done. The O course is executed a couple times, the confidence course as well, but they're getting a taste of everything. So come second phase, third phase, they already know what they're doing and they've been introduced. One thing that the Marines distinguish themselves from the branches, obviously, is their uniforms. So teaching them attention to detail there, that's obviously paramount for us because that's carrying the tradition of attention to detail. But also that attention to detail in the uniform tends to translate to other things that they do. So that's why we stress such a big thing on something so personal like their own uniform.
I am certainly humbled and proud to be given the opportunity to lead this effort in moving the Marine Corps forward in terms of integration, and really revolutionizing training and preparing the next future generation of Marines for the rigors of combat environments and for really stepping forward in terms of knocking down barriers for all of those who think they want to come here and become a Marine. When they stepped on the yellow footprints for the first time, they were still like thousands of others before them, not fully prepared for the challenges that would come.
The ultimate purpose of the Confidence Chamber is it's an annual training requirement by the Fleet Marine Force to don and clear your gas mask in the event of some sea burn disaster. I know a lot of recruits fear that moment of going in the gas chamber, so they call it the confidence chamber for a reason. It's like that one last moment before they go to the Crucible where they kind of have to step outside their comfort zone.
The Crucible is a 54-hour event where the recruits are going through and doing a bunch of different obstacles and challenges. And then at the end of those 2 days, we'll get up super early and hike the Reaper.
The Crucible is designed to replicate the challenges of combat environments while simultaneously allowing drill instructors and officers of the company to evaluate whether or not a recruit has full possession of the attributes that will make him or her successful in the Marine Corps.
Chesty Puller's reflection when he was asked about the new breed of Marine in comparison to the old breed of Marine, and it doesn't really matter We all wonder whether or not we're going to be able to fulfill, the legacy that has been laid before us at those moments when we're challenged most.
The recruits essentially get missions, from one mission to the next. Those missions are designed to replicate combat operations.
Everything with the Crucible was just on us as recruits. The drill instructors handed everything over to us. Every time we'd go to an obstacle, it was up to us to, go amongst ourselves and pick a leader and accomplish the mission.
Until you get there, I don't think you really understand the importance of teamwork. Unless you're executing with teamwork throughout the whole entire Crucible, you are going to struggle as a recruit. A lot of the events are fire team based or your squad based. So things that you're doing as a team ultimately. And when you don't have teamwork, it makes everything go that much slower. When the recruits aren't working as a team, you see the team fall apart. But when you see the recruits band together, that's when you see them successfully complete the obstacles.
Honor, courage, and commitment are certainly things that are tested during Crucible execution. But to focus in on honor, Marines gain their honor from the traditions of our past, the legacy of our past. And we fear more letting our brothers and sisters down and all of those that have come before us down. And part of the Medal of Honor citation process is to not only cognitively transport them to the challenges that individual had to experience, but provide them with a sense of honor that they will hopefully pull forward when faced with similar challenges in the future.
Those high standards that the Marine Corps possesses and in fact cherishes gives something for each Marine to aspire to. And that aspiration is often quite high, and it oftentimes exceeds our perceived physical and mental limitations. So therefore you have to dig a little bit deeper to earn that title.
The last day of the Crucible starts just like the others do, with the exception of now you're about 50 hours into the Crucible, so you're both physically and mentally exhausted. But it starts early morning, way before the sun comes up, and you pack your gear, put it on your back, and start walking. The Eagle Globe and Anchor ceremony itself occurs on top of the Reaper, which is designed to be a test of commitment and to really show as a symbolic approach towards transforming from civilian to Marine. Being a Marine is the epitome of character. It is doing what others either can or won't do, stepping forward for what's right at all times, but above all things, it's winning. Winning regardless of the obstacle. It's never quitting or giving up on anything that's thrown in your path, and it's about winning battles, both here and abroad, and a commitment to the character of what it means to be a Marine.